Everybody on the Zoom?
Marty said he was getting on the Zoom.
It is on. You just, we haven't started that meeting. Okay, welcome everybody to our January 24th, 2024 meeting.
That's pretty cool. So 1/24/24.
1/24/24, yeah. It's a lovely evening with some freezing rain just starting, following snow. So really appreciate everybody coming in person and totally understand everybody zooming in. So we have a fairly simple agenda today. We will be discussing potential projects for us as a committee and priorities that we want to prioritize for this year. Really want to focus this discussion on things that we would like to do as a committee. Last week we talked about potential projects we'd like the town to prioritize, but I think in addition to the advising on those projects, we can talk about what we want to do together. So very much meant to be a brainstorm, but also building off of the things that we've talked about in the past and the things that the public have told us they would like prioritize. Then we have on the schedule a little bit of time for work group updates. So we have emerging opportunities, community resilience partnership, and Repower. I'm not sure we have a representative from Repower, but any updates that we have, we'll spend a little time. If we have any public comment, we have that, and then we will touch briefly on things we want to talk about at our next meeting. Sound good? Okay. So with that, I will take some notes as we go. I'm actually not going to put them up on the screen today, so we can just have a nice discussion. But I'd like to open the floor to talk through potential projects and priorities that we want to go over for this year. Okay. And Leslie, would you maybe remind us, if you can, or maybe I could look up some of the priorities that we heard from the public that you were.
I don't have it in front of me, but what comes to mind first is education and advocacy, and I think that's an easy one for us to jump into straight away. You know that there were some specifics like electric school buses and infrastructure and I don't have it down. Can you guys remember anything else?
It was the coastal thing.
Yeah,
That was
waterfront.
really high one.
I can also read out the priorities that we put into the municipal resolution, if helpful.
Sure.
That drew from the public.
Yeah.
So the first is making our town's infrastructure climate ready, more resilient. And then adopt and execute a plan for energy efficiency and building envelope weatherization improvements for municipal buildings with an initial focus on preparing the Wiscasset Community Center as a safe shelter. 3 was providing timely communication and education to Wiscasset community members about climate change's impacts and solutions.
Yep.
4 was adopt a climate resilience plan that describes high priority strategies for reducing risk to vulnerable members of our community as well as critical community infrastructure. And 5 was identifying and protecting areas for living shorelines and salt migration areas.
Thank you. So I thought you was it last week we met?
Yeah.
You came out with it how you really wanted to do Earth Day.
Right.
And that's a really big education part that we could get the schools involved and other people. I looked it up. I don't know if you did. It's April 22nd, which is a Monday. And the school vacation for the kids is between the 15th of April and the 19th of April. So anyway, but what's very interesting, I didn't realize it, but this group, it's an organization. This year they're making a huge commitment to and plastic. And that's all what they're doing, is trying to figure out how to get rid of practice, and their whole goal is that they're demanding a 60% reduction in the production of all plastic by 2040. And so it's a really, they have quizzes on their page, fact sheets, toolkits, reports. It's a big deal.
Who's this to?
It's the Earth Day. It's .com, that's where I read it. I think that's what it is, yeah. And I think it's something that we could do with the schools and also with the whole community. We could just try and take a segment of it.
If we could have, like, if we could convince the schools to have some sort of a festival in the parking lot or on the field, and have some people that have some sort of little booths with education, like have a composting guy show up and give a demo about composting, why it's important, have a beekeeper come and have one of those working hives, and maybe we could find some other really cool exhibitors to come and talk a little bit about what they do.
That would fit in really well. I know we heard from one of the librarians who came to one of the workshops that they have a 3 R's, reduce, recycle, reuse.
Correct, yeah.
This, in the summer reading effort this year.
And Lindsay at the library really wants to be involved.
Yes,
So,
that's who.
Yeah.
came. Okay, so involved the library. Originally, I had been thinking, so there have been other Earth Day events in some other towns, like Freeport has done this, they've had events in Portland, around Earth Day, but also in September around National Drive Electric Week, where their town climate committees or climate teams have pulled together electric vehicle ride and drive events, where there's a National Drive Electric Week website has a place where you can set up an event, and private EV owners can sign up to either let people ride along in their EV for the event, or to let people drive with the owner in the vehicle.
Right.
Or not in the vehicle, if they're comfortable. But I know they've also talked to local car dealerships, and the car dealerships have actually brought vehicles for people to try. So it's a nice way to introduce people to and let them try an EV, and also like just drive it and ask questions. Like when my husband and I were looking at EVs, this was the only way we got to try most of them.
Yeah.
And we learned so much talking to owners as well. And I know that they got vendors, I think they may have gotten Efficiency Maine, they got different vendors to come talk about energy efficiency upgrades people could do in their homes, or like different programs available. So I thought this could be a great event, like a wider community event as well.
When is it?
So we could probably plan something around Earth Day. Earth Day's a Monday, but usually like maybe the Saturday before.
Yeah, it's Saturday or the Sunday.
Yeah, Saturday or the Sunday.
Yeah, I think that would be better to do. They go back to school on Monday.
Yeah.
So we would have it, do you think we'd have it at the school?
I think we have to figure out what we would do.
We would have to, for a ride and drive, you have to figure out a path for people to drive.
Yeah, we could do it down in the public parking area down on Water Street. There's a nice big area there for people to park and for us to set up. Vendors could set up, they have a food
That's
truck.
true.
It could be really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. One idea that was mentioned in the workshops as well was doing some sort of signage around sea level rise at the waterfront. So maybe we could work with the schools on getting a sign. And some educational material.
Maybe we could do something around posters that they make to get ready for it, and kind of exhibit those. Be interesting how the teachers would look at this. I don't know.
And I happen to know there's a member of our committee who's also done window dressers, community builds for these window inserts. Marty, do you wanna talk
Oh,
about
Yeah,
it?
that's me.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I have
That would be-
sample small windows, about a half a dozen of them. I don't know how I accumulated them, but
That would be a great idea.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
Really good.
there have been various like the Maine Climate Council's had meetings where they've had a window dressers event where people can volunteer to like make these inserts. So it could be a volunteer event as well, depending on where we do all of this, to set up a little space. Maybe doing something with the community center might make sense if they have, because they have the space.
They definitely have the space, right,
So we could actually set up tables for the window dressers, there's room for booths.
Mhm.
There's room outside,
Yeah.
to do the EV riding.
Yeah, that's probably where the EVs should be.
Yeah, center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes good sense, because
This
there's
is a big
people coming and going.
really
Yeah,
big
there's big
park.
parking, there's
Yeah.
lawn.
Mhm.
I think they're having another build in Bath next year.
Oh, great.
Oh, good. I called Brunswick this year and they never returned my call or answered my email. Because I wanted to build them.
Too far to go.
But
But I was doing measuring for Bath on this side of Bath and this side of Bath, so I did some measurements and actually Edgecombe and in Wiscasset.
Will you come and measure my windows?
There's a house past the high school on the left. It was built in the 1700s. It's unbelievable. She didn't have any insulation at one point.
Goodness.
Cold living.
Great. So, as with anything, this definitely would take a lot of organizing. And I can say pretty confidently, I will not be able to.
You will not be
I
organizing?
will not be the lead organizer. But is anybody like really excited, willing to help take point, like as a group, obviously as a committee, we would all pitch in.
Right.
But does anybody feel like they have the time and ability to do that?
I think it would be important to have Efficiency Maine there because they have a lot of rebates and a lot of education aspects of it. So if you want, I could contact them and get some information if they would be willing.
I mean, I think that's the way to do it. We kind of parcel it out, but
Yeah.
I think you do have to have someone that's like
Yeah, overseeing it.
overseeing it. I don't need to be the chairperson or whatever, but I certainly want to be involved in it because I think we really need to do this for the community. We really do. Because I think people are, what's the word? they don't know what we're doing and we need to show them. Yeah. And that's really, I think, an important thing. So,
I would propose having it the Saturday before Earth Day. Because if you have it during the week, you're not gonna get a lot of people because they're working.
yeah, I think we all agree to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely.
What's the date on that?
The 24th is a Monday, which is Earth Day, so the 23rd is Sunday and the 24th.
22nd, I should have, I don't know why, I kept thinking March 22nd.
Oh,
Was
no
Earth
worries,
Day.
don't worry.
Okay.
Are we thinking, are we taking a set?
The 22nd is Earth Day.
The 22nd.
Yeah, the 22nd is Earth
Okay.
Day.
Oh, so
Yeah.
the 20th,
Yeah,
yeah.
Thank you, that's, and is the 22nd a Monday?
yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get, my memory is never that good, and I nailed it, wow. Mark this
It's a
day.
good thing.
Okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
Let me throw some toothpicks on the ground and tell me how many fell.
We could also.
Why don't we see if we could do it on the 20th?
Yeah.
Yeah, Saturday the 20th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say we should also be maybe open to the 27th, just in case, like, that's when the community center is available.
good point.
Yeah.
You never know.
We have Dusty Lane. don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be
Okay.
the first order of business.
Low-income
Yeah.
people could get free, hot water heaters.
What?
Yep.
What, I
Low-income
think,
people can get free hot water heaters through, Efficiency Maine.
yeah, free?
Heat pump hot water heaters if you
Yeah, I have
qualify.
one, but I didn't get a free one.
Yeah, if
are
you're,
they it's for low income, they do it.
Oh, good, okay,
Yeah.
well then, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the rebates are, much bigger for lower. income.
Lower income, which
Yeah.
it should be,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I
Great.
plan on getting one, but I'm not in the low income, so, but
I got a couple.
I guess
think
it's gonna save half the cost of, the electricity that I use for the hot water that I use now.
Mhm.
So it's gonna save your electricity bill too.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, Jan, would you be willing to inquire with the community center?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, and we'll work on some,
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Jan's gonna reach out to Dwayne Community Center to ask about the dates. And then I'd like to propose we have a planning meeting.
I agree.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
do.
and see if maybe, and Deb's not here tonight, so this might be something she's interested in sharing. Don't know. I think to, your point, Jane, I wanna be involved, but I don't wanna be the one.
I'm happy to be the one, but I think we all need to like
Yeah,
Pitch in.
pitch in.
for sure.
So Evan, you probably have something you really wanna do.
this is for this,
Birthday.
Earth Day
Yeah.
event.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I like Efficiency Maine stuff, so.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
Biggest problem with those things is finding the plumber. Once you're the low income person to then install it, or anybody,
true.
you can get the rebate, but then you gotta find a plumber.
Yeah.
Pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get a couple plumbers there that won't work.
hey, there you go.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to give you, Deb's email, because she's using a new email.
Okay, thank you.
So if I can,
Sure, yeah, if you could send me that,
yep.
or all of us, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can table Earth Day event, we'll hold a planning meeting.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
And I think we'll part of that touch base with the library,
yeah.
town, and maybe see if we can help contribute to more community education. I think this is a great start.
And I also think though that we've got to figure out how to get the schools involved. Like, where do you go? Do you go to the superintendent?
Superintendent.
And then, so I'll make a meeting with her, because we've got to get the teachers involved.
You might wanna try and clue into what their curriculum is,
Yeah.
rather than trying to get them to do something else, already working with what they're planning on doing.
Right, I would agree with
But
that.
I don't know what they're doing. if
Right, I
anything.
think we need to know.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Mhm.
Great.
Okay.
We talked about electric school buses, and actually, Terry, would you mind giving us an update on, I know you've been
It's a very short update.
with the superintendent.
The superintendent is all for it.
Mhm.
That's the good news.
That's good.
The transportation director is not.
Mhm.
And I have not reached out to Kim to find out, who is this transportation? I can go find that and just have a conversation with him or her.
Yeah.
But Kim is in a position right now where she wants to support her staff.
Mhm.
And I support that too. So we have to kind of walk carefully. But if I think it would probably help if we got permission to speak to the transportation director so that we could find out what it is that we need to address,
Yes.
what the objections are.
And do you
Yeah.
have, I assume it's a man.
I know, I always assume, did you hear me? I was very
You
careful.
were very good.
I can guess because there's been misinformation going around. Some one school district can turn down money from the EPA for an EV school bus because of misinformation. And usually it's around battery fires.
Yeah.
But the Department of Education in Maine has a whole page sort of addressing frequently asked questions, common misconceptions. But yeah, I agree, like having a conversation about
You have to.
what the
Because-
reservations are.
It could very well be misinformation.
Yeah.
Could be, you know,
Last I knew, their transportation or facility, I don't know about,
do you have a name over there?
I thought it was Mary, what's his first name? Not Tim, the other one, he's got a mustache.
Yeah, the
One minute.
EPA deadline is in 1 week to apply for the.
I think this is,
Ah,
I think so, it's too much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot,
it is, yeah.
yeah, but I think starting the conversation
Yeah,
is.
So this
there
is
may
for
be
a free one?
future, yeah,
Maybe I could put the question to Kim differently, and that is, could we apply for a free one of these?
yeah,
And, you know, if we didn't use it next year, maybe the following, you know, whenever we got somebody who could support the program,
Yeah.
she's for it. She's
that's,
all for it, and
that's
so,
great. It's free money that may not come around again.
And
right,
you'd be able to hold that money, you think, to use
They
it,
would probably have to order the bus.
order the bus.
it's the EPA that is.
Yeah, the EPA. Yeah, the links that I sent to you, that's the program.
Yeah, I probably lost it, help me.
I'll also
find it.
resend it.
John Mary,
John Mary,
yeah, with an H.
thank you.
Which if I had to guess, yes, misinformation, and then just people that are nearing retirement and have no patience for anything new and any new maintenance cycle, and they know how things are going,
Yeah,
and they're like, yeah, that's fine, the next guy can handle it,
Right.
go away.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
yeah,
And they all have, yeah,
And also-
everybody around, I've already tried this at the water district and they laughed me out of the room, so, oh yeah, you can bet. Right up until they won't be selling gas, those guys are gonna be burning it, so some of them, yeah, tough.
What's the deadline again?
31st. Okay, so we'll keep trying and see.
We will
Yeah.
absolutely, I will redouble my efforts.
Yeah, let me know, I'm happy to hop on the phone to answer any quick questions, because I know some.
I should, yeah, I should help them. I mean, yeah, you know, okay,
Awesome,
yes, yes, yes.
great, okay.
I mean,
Alrighty, so under infrastructure, that was another area we had a prioritization. We actually have a project that Leslie is, well, more on the, actually, that would be more on the water,
yeah,
on the living shorelines, where it's
Mm,
all much generation.
right.
Yeah, so Leslie's project. Do you have a shorthand name?
Pleasant Street Extension, guess is an easiest way.
Pleasant Street Extension.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's something you can think of that's shorter and sweeter.
Yeah. Do you have a goal for, like, by the end of this year, you would like to see something, an outcome with that?
Yes, so, I mean, my next step is to set up a Zoom call with Army Corps of Engineers and all these other multiple people that we've met with in the past, and figure out what phase one is going to look like and what funding vehicles we would need to, well, after I talk to Army Corps of Engineers and they say, this is what you can and can't do, this is what we would support, this is what we wouldn't support, then I'd go back before the select board, present my findings to them, get either the thumbs up or thumbs down, and then jump into applying for grants to get funding. In phase one would probably just be, it might not happen until the fall if
we get, even if we even have money by then, and that's going to be moving earth around and, yeah, just probably moving earth around and then getting a plan for what's gonna get planted down there, where the little pocket park would be, and how the earth that's moved would help prevent flooding at 4th Street down, where it meets Frederick. That's where it was really bad the past 2 high tides.
Yeah. Once we are enrolled in the community resilience partnership, we can get funding assistance from them, like
Okay.
fundraising
Right,
assistance.
okay, that's helpful. Yeah, this is going to be, it's going to be at least a few years worth of work, but it will make a dramatic change down there. Yeah,
Absolutely. So it sounds like sort of getting that project plan together, just starting to find funding.
confirmation and direction from, we sort of got a little feedback from the EPA. We need to talk to Army Corps of Engineers, and otherwise I have a great collection of resources that are ready and willing to step in. We just have to have funding to get them engaged. So I think we've got really good,
This is where it pays off, that you pull them in right at the beginning.
yeah,
And they all know,
that's right.
what the interest is. This is when it pays off, because they already know about it.
They know about it and they are all on the same page,
Yep.
right? We have buy-in, we have good feedback, we have sort of a direction. It's not the direction that was originally presented to the select board, so it's a change. But it's a change that all of these organizations, all these experts are supporting to be the best direction and also what appears to be the best route for funding.
And again, the change followed information that
That's
we
right.
gathered and encouragement from those people who are, in the business, of course,
Exactly.
but also it was with people who are in the business of finding the money. So it was, it's really nice the way it worked together.
Yeah, thank you. And I think for what has occurred to me over this past month or so is if we are going to have to move the water treatment plant from where it is now up to higher ground, that little area where it was, where it is now, where it will be moved from, will make the perfect little park that I know people they're going to be unhappy they won't be able to get to White's Island, but for a fraction of the cost, we can make an amazing park down there that people can walk to. And it would be a tie-in to Gardens Aglow, because we have a lot of parking there. We could have food trucks during Christmas time, decorate that area with lights. It would be amazing. And you don't need to build 2 bridges out to get to it.
Yeah. Of course, it's also, the reason the plan is moving is because it's in the path of
Yeah, high tides.
being inundated.
Yeah.
But if you have plants there,
If
and
there's, we would just have to plan for high tide
that's right.
with a storm. We would have to just
Absolutely.
plan for it. And
Yeah.
that's what we learned yesterday at the climate
Yeah,
meeting.
right. Yeah, these past few storms have been really eye-opening to see
It's unbelievable.
how much water we had in so many public places.
Mhm.
The waterfront, the pier, the yacht club, everything was swamped.
I have not been down to the waterfront, but I understand from the meeting at one of the committee last night that, and because I asked, what happened to the wall,
The seawall.
the seawall under the deck, not the deck, under the boardwalk? Have y'all seen it? I haven't seen it yet.
Is it washed away?
Carved out, yeah, gone. There are 2 pilings that are holding up the sidewalk. We said, maybe we need to put a
Yeah,
do not walk here.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, I didn't realize that wrong too.
Yeah.
I need to get, I mean, but it was snowing today. I couldn't talk
You know, if
myself
the,
into going down there.
Do you know if the railroad tracks got covered with water?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did.
They did.
Yeah.
They
And
were
they came
underwater.
And they've come through and removed debris and
Right.
tested the railroad tracks, and they actually had a train go through today.
But I mean, if they get too many more of those, they're gonna have to do something to raise those tracks up higher. 'Cause
Yes.
On top of everything
On
else.
top of everything else.
So at some point in time, they're gonna have to raise that too.
Yeah.
At some
Yeah.
point, in time, have to raise the railroad track.
Yeah, exactly. Perhaps we can talk a little bit about one of the priorities in the municipal resolution, which is to adopt a climate resilience plan. It describes high priority strategies for reducing risk to vulnerable members of our community and critical community infrastructure, which includes roads, bridges, railroads, stream crossings and culverts, wastewater treatment plant. I think it would definitely also include the waterfront, our work in the waterfront as well.
Yeah.
Because so many people depend on being able to access the water there.
And we've seen what's happened to the fishing communities,
Yeah.
to the lobster
That's right.
businesses that were wiped out. Yes, I mean, we're somewhat protected in here, but we were also underwater. So maybe we need to look at that.
Yeah, I was going to propose that as a committee, maybe this is something we could contribute to and maybe work on this year. As a committee, which is looking at data, trying to collect data, bring it together, trying to maybe identify some potential ways that the town could make, improve resilience of our infrastructure and helping people. I mean, that's something that we deprioritized for the community action grant. We might be able to look for other sources of funding if we needed it, but that's also that's a job we could take on as a committee this year, as well. We could bring in outside speakers, we could try to get, talk with our county assigned planner about analyzing data, because there are some data that the county has on some vulnerabilities. So that's, we could set a goal as a committee to maybe contribute towards making a plan by the end of the year.
I hope you're writing that down. That's great.
Proposing,
You
yeah,
just did. Yeah,
yeah, so is
that's a
that
great
something,
proposal.
is that something everybody's interested in pursuing?
Yes, but I think it's gonna have to be later in the year because we have a lot. Yeah, even if we're going to, I think, as soon as we get the go-ahead from the select board, the first thing we're gonna have to jump on is figuring out what we need to do about the rec center as heating and cooling.
Yes.
And that's going to be I think it's gonna take a lot of our time.
Yeah, we'll have until the end of March to get our grant application together for that. So, and then we will also be working towards an Earth Day.
Day, right.
So, yes.
Since that's managed by the American Red Cross, we have to see, we can't really have a grant that gives the money to the American Red Cross to upgrade that facility. I wouldn't think.
We have to find out for information to figure out.
We would have to buy it directly for the building. So,
I think the management of the Red Cross is just when it's a complete disaster emergency. They're the people that count everything, label everything, identify people, that type of stuff.
Don't they provide like some relief, like cots and
Probably.
tents and
Yeah.
things like that?
And then there's probably a lot of stockpile of all that stuff in the county.
Yeah, that would be
That the
interesting
county owns.
to confirm.
yeah, so what could we get? What would we need to define what we would put the money towards?
Yes, absolutely. And I think we'll get some more direction on that from the select board.
Yeah.
But we can also start gathering information and, I think at our last meeting, we had set a goal to talk with Dwayne and the county emergency manager to start getting that information.
Yeah, we should set that up.
Yeah, we do need to set up a meeting.
I want to be clear that, there's a piece of paper floating around somewhere that says the community center is a warming center and that the Red Cross supports it, that's their organization that does it. If you ever see that piece of paper, it's wrong. I checked that out this week with last week. And it just occurred to me that I didn't get that news to you when we start talking about learning centers. Yes, Dwayne is operating a warming center when it's necessary, but the Red Cross has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
That's good to know.
FYI.
Good to know.
Yeah, we need Dwayne to weigh in.
The Excel spreadsheet you sent, there's American Red Cross on that.
I think it's for when it's a
And a
disaster,
disaster, okay.
shelter,
Got it.
whatever the threshold for that stuff is.
Yeah, whatever
I
that
have
is.
no idea, but yeah,
Okay,
10 below 0 isn't a disaster yet.
Mhm.
Okay.
okay.
So yeah, so we want to get going on setting up a meeting, with Dwayne, our county emergency manager.
That person's name is Maury Prentice, MAURY PRENTISS. And he was hired last year in about May.
You where?
He was hired in May of last year,
In May of last
He's
year.
emergency medical, I mean, he's,
Emergency Management Agency
agency.
Okay,
Director.
thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, so then, in terms of timing, we have our grant application for the community center. Once we get approval, from the select board, they may decide they would like to prioritize a different project.
Sure.
But the community resilience plan, I think we tentatively said we like this idea, but we want to work on it starting in May, I'm going to guess.
The
Early
climate
April.
resilience plan,
A town resilience, climate resilience plan.
right.
The client community action
Like,
plan.
I would say climate resilience plan.
Sorry,
So I need a little help here. What's the goal of this then, to be able, if we're saying we're gonna start this in May, what's our goal?
Our goal would be to understand where the vulnerabilities, like the most critical vulnerabilities,
So it's to identify the most
And-
critical, right? Okay.
and to describe our priority strategies or goals to address those vulnerabilities. Like, that could be the town, identifying and making recommendations to the town
Yeah,
to help,
okay.
do specific things to help keep our vulnerable members of our
Mhm.
community, often younger people, elders,
Yep.
unhoused people. And we could make recommendations to say, you know, we really need to get funding to build a new seawall on the waterfront because of all the damage,
that's
or
what I would make number one.
elevate the railroad. You know, I think there are some specific things, once we look at data, once we look at what's available, that we could identify as, you know, these are the things that the town should be doing to be more resilient to climate change.
Okay.
That makes sense to me. Somehow I think the seawall is not the way we need to go, because it just collapsed.
Yes.
We spent a lot of money on that one.
We,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll need to come up with a long-term plan.
Yeah.
Or short-term and long-term plan.
Yeah.
Yes, I think this is something like we can do really well, and it will help position the town to get funding for the things that are identified in it as high priority.
Good.
We can build, there's a lot of existing analysis we can build on, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel and everything.
So who has that? Is that the planner? Who is that?
The county emergency management
Okay, so
agency
it's them.
has
Okay.
some
County energy.
emergency management agency.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so we're at 6:42, so I think this was a great discussion. We can also continue this discussion if there's interest at our next meeting to maybe do some calendar planning.
yes, that would be
Yeah, I think we
helpful.
need a calendar.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too. We need to
All right.
come back backwards.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so, at the next meeting, we want to plan out our activities on a calendar for this year. And I know that our Repower Working Group has already had a sort of year planning meeting. I need to find out more information about that and, how that, if and how that fits in with our committee as a whole. Okay, so turning to working group updates. Leslie, I think you gave a really good update about the Pleasant Street extension. Thank you for doing that. I think Marty is technically the chair of the Emerging Opportunities Working Group. Marty, do you have any other updates you'd like to give on ongoing work?
Well, it's not an update, it's more of a question of how are we going to interact with the town manager or whoever's in charge of the Johnson Control proposal. In other words, there are going to be different options that we can take the whole thing. We could choose what we want to do, you know, which may be the most cost effective. Does the school get involved? You know, what kind of input might we have? And I'm not sure how we should go about it. I mean,
That's a great question, Marty. I don't know the answer to that question. Would you like to talk to Dennis and ask him how he would like our committee to continue weighing in on the Johnson Control project?
I could do that.
Thanks.
I just want the direction to say
Yeah,
the committee would like us to
Yeah,
pursue that.
please do that and report back. Okay,
When does he come back?
Another
29th,
8 days?
yeah, another week.
I'm sorry, when?
One more week.
One more week.
Oh,
He's gonna miss the meeting next Tuesday, so,
Ours is the following week.
right.
Yeah.
yeah, isn't he supposed to be back for the next, the 9th? Oh, I mean,
Next slide.
yeah.
Yes. Well, with that, I can roll into a quick Community Resilience Project working group update. We had a good meeting last week. Really, just wanted to say I'm nearly done with the letter to the select board. I'm going to send that around for some input and editing from you all. And I have double checked. Unfortunately, I became aware that I mentioned last week the Maine Infrastructure Adaptation Fund. Grant deadline was not at the end of March like I was thinking. It's actually February 2nd.
Yeah.
And so we're not gonna qualify to apply because we're not yet in the community resilience partnership. However, there was another grant opportunity, which I'm looking up. It's Energy Efficiency Priorities Grants. We may not, oh, actually, no, we don't actually. Apologies. There was one more grant opportunity, but we aren't eligible because we're not technically disadvantaged community. So the primary opportunity we are eligible for right now from GoPIF is the Community Action Grant, which is due by the end of March. So we will have a lot of work to do working with Shruti on that.
Right.
Once we have the go ahead from the select board.
But the community, is it, plan that we've been working toward, the deadline is February 2nd?
No.
No.
That's
They're for a second.
No, that's the end of March.
Thank you.
Yes.
Still.
It's just the other infrastructure adaptation fund could have been applicable for the wastewater treatment plant. My understanding is the size of the grants were much smaller, like the maximum was 125,000.
We're gonna have to, that's gonna be a federal
small
grant.
drop in our bucket.
It's gonna be 44 million. Well, right now it's 37 million. but it's gonna be.
I love the ride, right?
It's gonna be, yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's a huge project.
Yes,
The grant amount is what, 50,000 for the?
yes,
Okay.
50,000 for the community action.
So I guess we'll have to try to figure out, like, is that all gonna get spent on the community center? How is that, or, you know, are we gonna divvy that up in towards a few different projects? We'll have to figure that out, right?
We will, I think probably the scope of the community center project would take up all of that.
Yeah, we
I
could
think so.
find
Although we could spend some of that probably on like improving the
That's
town
what I was
communication
thinking.
system.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think that could definitely result in.
like some kind of a web page or like some better communication or printed materials or something like, there's some little things that we could include in that package for education, maybe.
Yeah, so we'll want, whatever is in the grant proposal, we'll have to be able to tie it towards our priorities in the resolution.
What does it cost to install a charging station? Keep talking about EVs. Any idea what the cost of installing one would be for the town?
Something between like,
And
20 and 30.
Oh, that
is
was
it that high? Yeah.
I think
for
between
level two.
you, between the time you dig the ditch and the equipment's nothing, the equipment's like a couple $1,000s, but digging a ditch, having CMP, then run a service to it and then have it be a separate thing and then make it look nice.
Yeah.
It's a few dollars.
How much more would a phase, is that a 3, a real fast charging? How much more would that cost?
Minimum 100,000,
Is it really the
Yes.
fast charging?
yes, very expensive. That was what Lynn or I heard last from
Okay.
efficiency committee, but that was a little while ago. I don't know if costs have come down, but
And there are two levels of charging?
3 technically.
Three, really,
yeah.
So 120
one
right
twenty,
out of the
yeah,
wall, 240, which is a dryer plug.
yeah.
That's all you
It's
need.
level two.
And then DC fast charging, which you need a 3-phase power. So places that have access to 3-phase are the only place.
Can anybody hear me? That froze up?
Ellie Gutkowski.
Hi. Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was me. So should I log in later or? Oh. Okay, thanks.
Essentially just one car that might park
With
there
that?
for 2 hours
With
or
that.
so. and no
Pretty
one's-
much all of them, you'd get two chargers at the same pedestal,
Right.
always.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
and a lot of times they do like 4 now at a time. Pedestals, just because.
Apologies, this recording is a continuation of the January 2024 meeting. We had an internet outage. So I'm not sure if we'll continue the same recording or create a new recording. If you're listening to this and it's a different recording, please go back to the other recording. We only lost a couple of minutes.
I'm back.
And welcome back, Marty. I will work to get you on the big computer so that everybody can see you. And we were just wrapping up a couple of questions about electric vehicle chargers.
And you're thinking it's 20, 30,000 to install?
Yeah, I went down that road for a while.
That's just one charger, or is that?
It's a pedestal with 2 chargers on it.
Okay.
Yep.
So as a committee, do we want to try to maybe help locate some funding? This was one of the big priorities for the workshops, to have more public charging.
Yeah. Should try. Does Efficiency Maine do anything to support?
Yep.
They do.
And boy, are they bad at doing it on the phone.
They are.
I stopped talking to one guy because I was trying to get details on, half the time they don't want you to have a pay service one. They want you, so in Damascus and Bath, they just have a Clipper Creek, which is just a plug-in. Clipper Creek's just a brand of charger and it's not a pay system. So there's all these different, imagine every gas pump is a different brand, just like the gas stations.
Right.
And these particular ones, they don't have a pay setup, so it's just a plug. You plug it right in, no problem, that's it. But then there's plenty of places.
Oh.